What's up, what's up? It's time for Done Way Past Funny with your host, G.D. Fenderson. Join us as we discuss the arts, science, and business of comedy with comedians and comedian adjacent. With this episode's guest, Dan Hitman Rathmann. It's time to get down and get dope with Done Way Past Funny. Hi, welcome to Done Way Past Funny, where we discuss the art, science, and business of comedy with comedians and comedian adjacent. I'm your host, G.D. Fenderson, Certified Forensic Humourist at large, but I'm losing weight, so I tell myself. My guest today is Dan Hitman Rathmann. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Sure, man. Tell people a little bit about yourself, how long you've been doing comedy, where you're located, and how they can stalk you if you want them to.
That's great. I've had a few stalkers in my lifetime. Well, I'm Dan Hitman Rathmann. I've been nationally performing for the past almost 2 years. I'm actually been in comedy for almost 3 years in May. I've been lucky enough to be on Carnival Cruise, and I've performed all over the country already. Getting ready to headline a festival in Michigan pretty soon. But you can find me normally out of Kansas, Missouri area. I was born and raised in Kansas, but I currently reside in Missouri. If you want to look me up, you can find me on social media at Dan Rathmann on Facebook, or you can do Dan Rathmann Comedy on pretty much TikTok or YouTube, or even on Instagram. So those are my socials you can find me at. Outside of that, I mean, I'm just living life and having fun with it. So.
All right. Now, I know from your bio that you were a cop before you were a comedian. How long were you a cop?
Close to 2 years. Off and on, I've been in and out of it. Closer to 3, I guess. I recently went back and was doing it kind of like as a gig to make the extra money or whatever. And then my comedy started to take off more, and I just couldn't have time for it, so I ended up leaving. So. Okay.
Now, was there anything that you learned from being in law enforcement that you could use in comedy?
Oh, yeah. It's situational awareness. One of the biggest things is, you're always kind of watching your surroundings and stuff as a police officer, because you never know what's going to happen when you're out in the field. Me especially, I've done law enforcement in more rural areas. So a lot of times you're by yourself, your backup's not very close. So you got to be very alert and very aware of where you're at and what's around you. So for me, I do a lot of crowd work and interaction and stuff too. I mean, I have my material and I do my sets, but that helps out whenever you got hecklers and stuff in the crowd, or just people that want to interact with you. And I love interacting with people. So I'm not like your typical comic where they're like, "Oh, shut up and don't talk to the comic." I'm not that guy. I use it and I make it part of the show. So.
Oh, I am that guy. No, I'm just I don't do crowd work. I do crowd control.
There you go.
The reason why I put it that way is because a lot of comedians now, most of what they post is crowd work. And so audiences are now getting the idea that that's what's kind of like required of them to interact. And so I don't want that. I don't want to spend half my time arguing or saying you're not part of the show. So I have things in my routine that is designed to elicit the responses I want, so that they can get it out, and then I can shut them back down. They say, okay, you let off some steam, and I never give up control, because the whole idea is that you never give up control.
Oh yeah, I'm always in control of it. That's the thing. As I look at it though, is like I know other comics that they stay pretty much to a script. You know what I mean? It's like if they jump off of that, they don't know where to go with it next. And I get that. That's their style and that's how they work it. I, on the other hand, I kind of try to be more versatile as much as I can. And if something does go off script, I can turn a show out, from nothing pretty much. If it's not going this way, I could just be available to be flexible and change it up and go where I want to go with it. But some people that I've been on shows with some people and they, I don't want to be talked to. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. And it's like, that's fine, and I'll tell them, hey, don't heckle these guys. You can, if you want to heckle somebody, heckle me, we'll run with it with me. But somebody else, I try to give that respect to the other comics too, that are on the show. Be like, hey, if you want the crowd interaction, just wait till I come up. We can do it that way. I give that respect to other comics because it's not, I know it's not everybody's style. So.
Now, not too long ago, you were maybe a month or two ago, you were on another show that I'm part of called Coffee with the Dog.
Yep.
So this next question I have for you is from this video. Can we get the? I want to talk to you real quick, or have you talk about the Lunchbox Cruise.
Oh yeah, was it we were talking about?
Yeah, so I want you to talk about the Lunchbox Cruise.
Oh, it was fun. I mean, we went down there. We had a good time. Like it was different. It was a different experience. I made some new friends. I made friends with Paul Lyons. That guy is amazing, dude. He's so kind and fun, and he's experienced. He's been doing Carnival for like over 20 years, and he's got some film credits. I believe he did some stuff on Everybody Loves Raymond, several episodes. But the guy was very down to earth and stuff. So I mean, I took that opportunity. There was some hiccups. Obviously with every show, being in those, being something new. But people like that you get to meet. I mean, that experience is something that I like to take away from it. Like there were some things I would probably change about the cruise. That I won't bash anybody or nothing like that, but I mean, I would change some things, but at the same time, there's some experiences and I made some friendships that I think are pretty cool that, kind of like a mentorship, from people that have been doing things longer than I have, because as funny as I can be and as much talent, some people are like, oh, you're talented. I'm always willing to learn stuff too. And I think that's kind of what hinders some other comics, is that they're like, oh, I know it all already. And they're like, nobody knows it all already. We should always be trying to learn.
It's okay. It's okay that they don't. I do. It's okay that they don't. It's all right.
Well, maybe you.
No, I'm just. So now, how long? Now, you've done one cruise, but the Lunchbox Cruise just did its third year.
No, they've done festivals already. This coming year, I believe, their second year. I'm not on this other one. They're doing some New Orleans themed one this next time, I guess. And of course, I'm not from that area, so I'm the odd man out. But I've got other stuffs in the works. Like I said, I'm on festivals coming up. I'm one of the headliners with up in Michigan on this new festival that's kicking off. I'm going to Pennsylvania next month. I've got other shows going on. I'm also doing some work with a nonprofit that's actually helps with it's women's crisis centers. So I'm working with a lady that runs that. It's called the Raven House, and it's a good cause. So some of my shows are actually helping raise money to help go towards that too. So
now, what part of Pennsylvania? Because that's that's not. I'm in Maryland. So what?
Milroy is the place I'm doing a show.
Oh, Milroy. Absolutely. Have no idea where that is. Well, Pennsylvania is kind of a big state. I mean,
I've never heard of it until the guy reached out to me and talked to me about it.
Pennsylvania? You never heard of that? Or
I've heard of the state of Pennsylvania. I've just never heard of Milroy. So
no, I will put. I'm going to put for the audience the 4 people in the audience who live in Milroy don't need to know where it is, but anybody else, I'm going to put up a map so you can see where Milroy is.
Yeah, definitely come out there. They're gonna have DJ and music after the show too. So there's gonna be some dancing and stuff. So.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. Now, I gotta change my. Now I have a few clips. I have like 3 clips here. 2 of them are from Brouhaha, and the third one I'm not sure where it's from. You can tell us about that one after we look at it. I'm not gonna look at all 3 back to back, but the first clip I want to. Well, I want to ask you a question real quick. That's more of a technical question. For the most part, there was a rule that you go for like a laugh every 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a storyteller. I don't tell jokes. So I'm
Yeah.
not doing a joke every 15 seconds. I'm telling a story, and then so I may
Hmm.
go 30 seconds or so without, without quote a joke. But then
Yeah.
once I do the setup, once I get involved in the story, and people are aware where the jokes are, so to speak, then I can just say
Yeah.
bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
So now I was just wondering, do you adhere to that one laugh every 11 to 15 seconds, or how do because like I said, some people look at that as a clad iron rule. I know people who
Yeah.
that is the fucking rule, and that's how they write, you know.
See, I'm like again, I don't try to just run with the grain. I do my own thing, and I think I fill out the audience, and I see what's gonna work. So if it's working, I just run with it, and I riff with it if I can. Sometimes I'll riff, and it'll be back to back laughs. Sometimes it'll be 20 seconds, 30 seconds because I'm telling a story or whatever it may be. To me, it's whatever the crowd is feeling at the moment. But I've got a lot of quick wit things that come to mind while I'm on stage, even if I didn't write it before I went up there, it just kind of goes with the crowd in the moment. And to me, it's just I do what feels naturally to me while I'm up there. If it's going off of my set and the set is killing and it's working perfectly, I'm not gonna deter away from the set as much. But if people are being more interactive and things like that, and it's just like, okay, now I got to really do what everybody, like, a lot of people come to see me to be interactive. They really do. They like that part of me. But I would say that as far as the laugh timing and the sequences, I don't look at it like that. Like, I mean, I know that's probably a golden rule for a lot of comics, but for me, like I said, learning and all this other stuff. But I feel like the one thing that I have learned from comics in the business for a long time, it's always like finding your own way or finding your own voice and what works for you. So if you telling stories is your style and that
Yeah,
works, that's what people like about you, use it. For me,
yeah,
I do, like I said, the riffing, the interaction, stuff like that. I got to use what works best for me and what people like to see from me. So,
yeah. So now the I'm trying to I forgot what I was going to say now. And I actually do have it written down, but they're not in any order. So I'll pick a question and go, I'll ask that, and then I'll leave. And okay. So
yeah.
since we're talking about the comedy stylings, who or what are your comedy influences?
Oh man, I grew up like this is okay. So it's just like music, like I grew up listening to older music, before my time kind of stuff. But I grew up watching like Richard Pryor. I loved Richard Pryor, Red Fox. Those guys were a big deal. Like I used to watch Sanford and Son like all the time when I was a kid. Um, and it reminded me of my grandfather, so it was kind of funny. But anyways, I grew up with those
Your
guys.
grandfather was an old black man who sold junk.
No, there's actually kind of funny is that my grandpa, to me, I always thought my grandpa looked like Red Fox in the face to me. So like it was kind of really weird to do that. For the longest time, like he was my ringtone, was the Sanford and Son ringtone every time he called me. So I let it ring for a little bit so I could hear it. But
So
but
did he say like, so dummy, dummy, I told you, dummy, come out.
he was pretty blunt, you know what I mean? Like he was a blunt guy. He would tell you how it was. So that's what was kind of cool. And the older he got, the grumpier he got, before he
Yeah,
passed and
yeah,
stuff. But so
yeah.
it was kind of funny, just the way his demeanor was, and I just kind of related to that. But I grew up on like that. Of course, Eddie Murphy. I also liked Dave Chappelle was a big influence for me because I was in that era of the Chappelle Show. I graduated in 2005. That's when I graduated high school. So Chappelle Show in that 2000 era was big. I also like Daniel Tosh. Daniel Tosh was a big influence for me because he was also, kind of, he could just say stuff that it came off funny. I got a little bit of a dark sense of humor too. So, and that might be because of my background in law enforcement and other stuff that I've done, but it's those types of guys are like my biggest influence in comedy, I'd say.
Now, one of my favorite things that Daniel Tosh did was
Mhm.
"Is this racist?" And that's when he
Yeah.
had a group of people from different, a really diverse group of people,
Hmm.
and he would just say something that was not racist, and it was
Yeah.
just something. So, and he'd go like, "So, taco taster, is that racist? Is that I feel that's racist? Uh, really? Why is taco taster racist?
Yeah.
Because you said taco and taster. You had alliteration. Um, so what's the racist part? The taco or the tasting? So that
Yeah,
I and he would
he
like
was
say
good.
something. Yeah, and he would say something like Muslim band, Muslim
Yeah,
band. BAND. You're like
yeah,
a Muslim band. Is that racist? Yes, it's racist. We have as much right to be in this country as anybody else. No, no, band,
yeah,
BAND. Yes, but you have
yeah.
that alliteration. No, but just so.
Right.
I used to love that,
Yeah.
and that is the favorite thing of his that he did that I liked
Hmm.
of all the things he did. So,
Hmm.
and my least
One of
favorite
my
was him running
favorites.
around naked. I couldn't stand when he ran around naked.
Oh yeah, yeah. He did some gross things on there that I wasn't.
Yeah,
It wasn't my biggest thing, but I liked his stand up special that he did. One of my favorite stand up specials is called Happy Thoughts, and it's Daniel Tosh's.
yeah,
It's by far one of my favorite of all times, and it may be arguable for other people, but I just always laugh so hard at that because the things he would say, it's just ridiculous. Um, but he gets away with it, because he's not doing it in a malicious way. And that's the way I look at comedy too, because I say stuff about stereotypes and things like that too in my sets. And I don't I don't do it in a malicious manner because I point out stereotypes about everyone, not just, one race or the other. And that's kind of how I would say I'd take a little bit from Daniel Tosh that way, because he was able to do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like you look at it and you're looking at the funny things that make us different, but you're also like, this what brings us together. So
right. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. All right, so this first clip I'm going to play is, like I said, it's from Brouhaha, and it
Yeah.
is actually
I think we're on the
basically
same shirt.
it starts off. Oh, okay, yeah, it starts off. Matter of fact, that's why I picked them. I have like 400 clips here, and I looked at what you were wearing, and I was trying. Okay, so, and this is I guess is the one where you letting people know that you were a cop. Okay,
Yeah.
so here we go.
I used to be a cop. Anybody believe that? Till they found out. No, my last police position, I was actually a tribal policeman. Can you believe that? With this hat? I look like the guy that put them there. Is that too dark? Come on, we're all adults here. No, it's all good. Any cops in the house tonight? I'm profiling. Sorry, habits die hard. So, no, everybody from the area? Y'all from the area? No? You're not? She's like shaking her head. You're shaking your head, yes? Are you okay? Blink twice if he said, fuck it. If you're in trouble, we'll help you out. Just saying. What's in your drink? You're not from here? Where are you from? Nebraska? Ooh, they just got some snow up that way. Yeah, I drove down from St. Joseph, Missouri tonight. Yeah, you know where that's at, right? It's where meth and morals meet. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that place. I don't want to live there. I'm blinking right now, you just can't tell. Trying to get help out of there. So, what made you move down here from Nebraska? School and your mom? Who's your mom? Is it your mom? Your birthday? Her birthday? Her birthday? Well, Jesus Christ, you would be sucky at landing a damn plane. I'm telling you, it's just like roundabout. I hit one of those one time when I was drinking. It was weird. Yeah, flattened all the tires. That was weird. Yeah, I was in Parkville. No one even stopped to help me. Fucking cops. I was in a patrol car too.
Now, what's a travel cop?
Oh, it's a tribal cop.
Oh, tribal. Oh,
Yeah,
my
it's a
fault.
tribal
Okay.
policeman.
Oh, never
Yeah.
mind. Yeah, I know what a tribal cop is. You work on a
Yeah.
reservation. Now,
Yeah, that's
they
what the hat joke was about. It was,
got it. See,
yeah.
now I know. Tribal. Okay. Now
Yeah.
it makes sense. Now the hat part makes sense too. Tribal cop. Okay. So let me get rid of that
Yeah.
question. Now, So now, when you worked on a reservation, because a lot of people don't realize this, um, reservations pretty much can have their own laws separate from what our laws are.
Yep.
And so, obviously you have to be versed in their laws.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you spend more time in tribal lands or on in non-tribal lands?
They had like a surrounding area that you like patrolled or whatever. You could go off of it to assist other, departments or something like that if necessary. For the most part, like you said, they do have certain laws and stuff that are a little bit different that go through the
Right.
tribe. But they also had they even had tribal tickets. Like you could actually get either a speeding ticket that went through the county, or you could get a speeding ticket that went through the tribal. If you were there and you got a speeding ticket, you would probably prefer to get the tribal ticket, because the tribal ticket is just be a fine or court through the tribe, and it wouldn't go on your record.
Right.
But the county would go on your record.
So if you're gonna drink and drive, do it on a reservation.
Well, that won't go through that way. That one's gonna be automatic. But the speeding tickets and traffic tickets, stuff like that, you wanted them to go through the tribe way.
So drinking and driving on
DUI is just going to get you either way. It don't matter. You're still going to get.
That is sad. There's no good place to drink and drive anymore.
I know, right? It's like, what are we going to do? So,
damn. I mean, what's the point of being a comedian if you can't drink and drive to get yourself viral video footage?
Exactly. Right.
I mean, look what it did for Mel Gibson's career.
Oh,
just that one traffic stop.
Oh yeah, he let it all out.
Now so. Because you are not a native, are you allowed to pursue because one of the problems that they had on reservations with crime and stuff was that if a non-native committed a crime on a reservation and they left the reservation police could not pursue them once they left the reservation. That was a problem with rape charges. A lot of that was a few years ago. This was a big problem. And
I think the way it worked with that tribe, I've seen guys get extradited back and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't think
pursue them, but they can be the criminals can be extradited back.
Well, if it's right there, if it's close by, like I said, we had a permission to pursue into the county and stuff like that we were on. So because we were a tribe within a county, so Donovan County was the county that I was in. The tribe was out in a little area called White Cloud, Kansas, and it was called Iowa Tribe of Kansas and Nebraska. So we had a Nebraska line that we were on that we could go into if necessary. But we also had part of the Kansas area. So we, like I said, we would assist the county, the sheriff's department, or anybody like that if necessary too, if there was anything going on. So a little bit more leeway than what I think that a lot of other places do. Now it might be different from tribe to tribe, but for where we were at, if the law was broken, especially if it's something like a heinous crime like that, if they were trying to flee, all we had to do was just radio in and be like, yeah, we'll help you meet up or whatever. So
okay, now do you think you could do comedy on a tribal, if they had a comedy club in their tribal area? Do you think you could go there and do as well as you do on a non-tribal area? And am I saying that right? Am I saying that right? Like tribal area and a non-tribal area, or is there?
I don't even know how it'd be said. I mean, today's world.
I'm not used to saying it. Somebody out there right now is going, "That's not how you say it." It's
if it isn't,
it's native land and stolen land. Okay. I don't know. So
that's the way I look at it. Is it doesn't matter what you say. People are going to get mad one way or the other. You said it wrong one way or the other. So I don't know how. I always called it tribal because I was called tribal police. So the way I look at it is that if that's how it's going to be determined, is that's my badge or that's the name of the department I'm working with, then I'm going to call it tribal.
So if you were called fuckwad, you'd call it fuckwad land?
Probably, yeah. So, and given the fact that some of the people I worked with in some of the areas, I would have probably called it that anyway. So,
Now, there was so where was this? Where's Brouhaha Club at? I mean, yeah, where is
That was
that?
in
And
Kansas City. Kansas
oh,
City. They
okay.
actually just I believe they closed up. The owner decided to get out of it and they closed up. So I actually went and kind of ran the last show with I worked with have you ever heard of Rodney Norman?
No, but
Uh,
I heard the Brouhaha Club in Kansas City either. So
yeah.
well, not
Yeah,
Kansas
so
City, Kansas. Yeah.
Rodney's a big time like influencer type. He's also a comedian. He's been a comedian for a long time too. Very very nice guy. If you've seen him, you'd probably know who he is. He's wild hairdo, beard, older gentleman.
That sounds like
But
half the people in my neighborhood now. So
kindest guy in the world I've ever met. Like he's one of the most
oh, now he
kind and
doesn't sound
fun
like
guys in the world.
anybody. Now he doesn't sound like anybody in my
Yeah.
neighborhood. You say nicest guy. No, he's not like anybody around here.
You can look him up on like YouTube and stuff like that, and he's all over.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I think he's got Instagram, Facebook. He's on my Facebook too. You could probably look him up. But uh, guy's funny. He's incredibly hilarious. But he did the last show there, and I actually went in and I featured for him, and I actually kind of ran things for him too. So, um, but it's sad because it was a great venue. The venue was nice. It was very welcoming to everybody. There was rumors spread by other venues that claimed that they didn't, that they were this or that or they were racist or something like that, and that wasn't true because
Oh,
half
I
the
didn't see
time,
any black people in the whole video, so I think they are
well, not
racist.
that one,
No, I'm just
not that
teasing.
one.
No.
Actually,
Not
that
one black
show,
person did I see in that whole. No, I'm just go ahead.
that show, there actually was one black person, I think.
Okay,
So,
it was probably a comedian. Now let me stop. Um,
uh, he he was
now
funny though.
I never got to ask. I never. Well, actually, I didn't finish asking. Could you do comedy on a tribal area and have the same results as you do off the reservation, or would you have to like adjust your humor? Because you spent a lot of time there, so you know what the humor is like, what they think is funny. I'm assuming they have like their own set of some things
Well,
that's locally humorous to them wouldn't be to us. I
they
guess that's what I'm trying to
knew
learn.
they knew I was a comedian whenever I came in because I'd started after I'd already been doing my comedy.
Okay.
I only stayed there for about 6 months on that position, so they knew I was a comedian before I even came in. So a lot of the times when they would talk to me and stuff, they'd be trying to crack jokes to me and tell me jokes. You know what I mean? Because everybody, if they know you're a comedian, they're like, "Hey, I got a joke for you." You
Yeah,
know that.
yeah. So
So
how were the jokes? What were they like?
I mean, I would say some of their jokes were probably a little bit more demeaning towards tribal than anything I could ever say. I mean, but it was funny, because I'm like, oh, that is funny, and they knew I came up with that joke about the hat, like I look like the guy that put you here, I came up with that while I was working there. That
Okay.
was one of those things because it was kind of funny, here I am, this pale face guy. That's from the old movies they call you pale face.
Right.
So here I am, this guy, and they hire me, and they're like, "You're not tribal, or you're not, you don't have a background in that." I'm sure I'm like down the line somewhere. I'm probably like 1/16th or
I'm
1/20th or
sure there was
something.
some
I don't know.
raping somewhere. I'm sure there
There's
was some.
somebody in my
Yeah, somebody.
family.
Yeah, somewhere there was some raping back there. So I know I'm part something.
I don't get free college. That's all I know.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's the only thing about it. But they would joke with me about that stuff, but they didn't hire just people that were native or whatever on there. If
Right.
you're certified or if you've been law enforcement experience or anything like that, you can get on, but you have to still go through the council makes the decision whether they hire you or not. So
Right.
that's a little bit of a difference between like going and working at another department. You have to go through like the tribal council, and they have to be like, hey, it's okay for the chief to hire you or whatever. So you have to meet certain people too. So
Okay. So, but they don't have a comedy club there on their tribal land.
no, they do have a casino. So
that's so you could do shows at a casino. Yeah.
Yeah, which I talked to him about that before I left, and then nothing ever really came of it. And then I'd actually talked to I don't know if you ever heard of Michael Joyner.
Used to play for the Bulls. No, I'm just teasing. That's Michael Jordan.
No, Michael Joyner, not Jordan.
Yeah. No,
He's a comedian, man. He actually was. I think it was like 2008 or something like that. He won like best clean comedian or best comedian out in LA or something.
See, you did that on purpose because I told you before we started the interview that I don't know any comedians' names. He's like, so you're going to start at you. So you really want to show people how ignorant I am. It's like See,
No, no, no.
talking to comedians. He doesn't know any comedians. That's why I talk to comedians, because I don't know any of them. I don't know
Well,
comedians. That's why I want to do the show, so I can talk to comedians. But
yeah,
also, we're all different. Even
yeah,
though we're doing pretty much trying to achieve the same thing. But
yeah.
we all have a different space that we work from and
Yeah.
work within. That's So stop asking. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
My biggest thing is I've been lucky. Like I said, I've been kind of blessed or lucky enough that I've come in and worked with like several different comedians across the country with different styles. And a lot of them, they either found me through social networking, or they found me through another comic or whatever, or they saw something that they liked and they were like, "Hey, how you
Give us a
doing?"
hat.
I think so. I looked the part. Uh, and anyways, well, I can't remember what I was saying about him, but about Michael, we got sidetracked there.
Yeah,
But
it was talking about his 6 years with the Bulls. But go ahead.
yeah, six
Not that.
Bulls, yeah.
His six rings
Way
with the
better than
Bulls.
LeBron. Anyway,
Way better. Yes, way better. We agree.
If you're older than 25, you're gonna probably say that. Just say it.
It doesn't matter how old you are. It's just logical. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's like it would be like for most people,
Mhm.
Richard Pryor is like the gold standard, and at least
Yeah.
in black comedy, Richard Pryor is the gold standard.
In comedy.
So it's the gold standard. So,
So,
and for people to say Eddie Murphy is like better, it's like no. Eddie Murphy watched Richard Pryor, and
Mhm.
and coming along way after him, he got to learn from mistakes that Richard Pryor made, so
Yeah.
he could avoid those mistakes. So while
Yeah.
Richard Pryor was like setting his hair on fire with freebasing, Eddie Murphy knew, don't
Yeah.
freebase. Okay,
Yeah.
that's one less thing he had to overcome. And then
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle comes along after Eddie Murphy. It's like
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy got caught in the car with a trans person or something.
I think so. I think it was. Yeah.
So Chappelle knows, don't get caught with a trans hooker. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And so his
Yeah.
career can be a little bit more smoother.
Yeah.
But if it weren't for Richard Pryor, those other guys, they may have come along, but they would have had more lumps, and it would have taken them a lot longer.
Oh yeah. Well, he walked so they could run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what he did, and that's how it all works. I don't take anything from any of that. Like I said, they all have their own things, but like you just said, a lot of that stuff is going to stem from Richard Pryor. It's just like some of the other guys, some of the comics I've worked with, a lot of them guys, a lot of their influence is going to stem from like George Carlin or somebody like that. It's all going to be based off of who you looked up to as a comic or their style or whatever. And that's where you're going to stem your style from. So like whenever I go to do a comedy show, because I had somebody ask me, do you do kids shows? I'm like, have you watched my stuff? Like, do you know, like, I don't do kid shows. I mean, it's not that I couldn't do, like, if I was on a sitcom or something like that, I could do like funny, like Home Improvement funny stuff.
Their words, but in a sitcom, they're telling you, matter of fact, even if you get the words right, they'll say you can't put your hand there. Why? It's too close to your crotch. So put your hand behind your back, not
exactly.
Okay, got you. But when you're doing comedy, even if you know the right words to say, you can still make it unclean.
You got to make it. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it's got to feel natural to you. So you're not going to see me at a kid's birthday party doing jokes. Like it's just like
if you were there, you'd be doing kids.
Don't get that out like that. I'm not on any list.
Well, nobody's on the list until they get on the list. That's so
right. But no, and I could be funny. Like I got my own kids and stuff. I could be funny with them, and like more family friendly with that, like in the scenario. But for me to do, I just can't see myself doing like the old school like Bill Cosby jokes. You know what I mean? Like, and don't get me wrong, Bill Cosby made a way for a lot of people too.
Yes. He made a way for Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor started up trying to be like Bill Cosby.
Yeah, and then it didn't work for him to be clean. So Richard did his own thing, and that's how it works. But Bill made obviously he made a life off of that. I mean, all the other stuff that added later on in life that came out, that's wild. But the craziest thing is that there's a market for all of it. There's a market for someone who's not so clean. There's a market for somebody to be squeaky clean. Like we briefly spoke about the whole Nate thing. Nate Bargatze. He's hilarious. He's funny. He's a clean comic. He can say some stuff that's like innuendo or anything like that, but you're not going to hear him up there flying the F word and stuff like that. That's not his style, and that's great. And that's the market for it. Fluffy, Iglesias.
Yeah.
He's the same way. You're not hearing him say, flying the F word or anything like that. He's more of a clean comic.
Unless the F word is fluffy. Unless the F word is fluffy. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I won't bash them. But that's just their style. It's not my style. I may not be on a show with them because they may not, want to work with me because maybe I'm a little bit too edgy or something. But that is what it is. I mean, that's just how it works. But there is a market for every single one of these styles out there, and I think that's kind of the way I look at it all. I mean,
now you have 2 kids?
Actually, technically 4.
Technically 4. Okay, so let's talk about those technically 4 kids. First of all, how old are they?
My oldest is going to be 15.
The range. Yeah, the 15 to.
Yeah, I was going to say my oldest is going to be 15, and then the youngest is actually going to be 5.
Okay, so obviously you can't talk to them the same way, but when you do joke with them, do they think you're funny or do they say, "Dad, shut up, you're embarrassing"?
My oldest is, she's a teenager, so everything's embarrassing that dad or mom does. Okay. So that's kind of there, but she also, because I'm very blunt, I'm very like forward with a lot of stuff. So whenever I do say something, it may even come off as like me making fun of somebody or being like mean, maybe, I don't know, but she laughs at it. So I don't know. It's like, it's a little bit different. Like, but she's also, my oldest and my 7-year-old are probably, as far as the mentality and the attitudes, because they're around me more, I guess. I don't know. They probably, I think they get my humor a little bit more. Now, I don't sit there and try to be like cussing in front of them and doing stuff like that all the time.
Right.
There might be a cuss word that flies in front of them once in a while. Things just happen. But as far as that's concerned, I try to keep it as clean as possible whenever it comes to the kids. But you wouldn't see me performing at their middle school or their high school or something like that. Doing my regular stand-up routine. So.
I was talking to stepson, and after he got married and after he had his first kid, and when I was visiting, and he says, you know what you did for me? He goes, and the one thing that you did for me that I'm really thankful for. And when he said that, in my mind, I thought it was that I taught him how to cook, because he became a chef, and I gave him his first cooking lesson. And that's how he made his living. So when he says one thing I'm really grateful for, that's where I thought he was going to go. And I was waiting for, thank you for teaching me to cook. He says, you taught me how to cuss. He goes, because he says, you didn't cuss around us. And so when you did, it meant it was serious. It was like, if you said damn or hell or anything, we knew that you were angry. And pay attention, because we never heard you cuss, and I was like, that's what you took out of all those years I spent with you. That's what you got, how to cuss. I was like, okay, I'll take it, but it's all right. I thought you were going to be grateful that I taught you how to cook.
It's awesome.
That's what I thought. So, what do you think your kids are going to be thankful for from you? It's like, no, just.
I don't. That's the thing, I don't know. I try to be as honest with them as possible about everything. Like, I don't really try to hide anything from them. I don't. As far as, because I again, like I said, I've been being a police officer and seeing the way life works. I guess I could be a little bit more protective because I know that there's bad people out there, right?
Oh yeah, you've seen the darkness.
So I do try to, like, especially like my oldest, she wants to run around and, hang out with friends and stuff like that. And I was that age before, so I get it, but I'm also like, hey, you got to be really, really careful with what you're doing, because there's people out here that want to take advantage of people, and they will, if you put yourself in a situation where they get more opportunity to do that. So you got to be careful. So I think the thing I want to teach them is kind of having that awareness like I do, the situational awareness and being aware of their surroundings, because I think that's going to be a very, very big thing in the future for like saving them from putting themselves in situations where they can be taken advantage of. I
Right.
mean, it happens. I get it. People do get, scammed out of money. They get scammed out of stuff and things like that. But as far as their safety is concerned, I want them to know that, that's my biggest concern, because I can't always be there every step of the way. So if they're not around me, I can't exactly just reach out and touch someone, So
Now, because one of the things I used to say to one of my girls. Well, I said to both of them, but I said to both of them. But this it was the same thing, because when they were starting to date, I said, do not put yourself in a situation where you do not know how you want the evening to end.
Yeah.
I said, have a plan, know what you want to do, and know how you want the evening to end. Because if you leave it up to your friends, especially some guy, and you say, the guy says, so what do you want to do? And you say to him, I don't know, what do you want to do? He wants to fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no scenario where he doesn't want to fuck. Even if he says, well, let's go to the park for, it's like, and then fuck. It's like, or let's go bowling and then fuck. But I said, you decide where you want the evening to end up. So when a guy says, what you want to do, you go, I want to go bowling, then I want to go home. I'm not fucking. And so have a plan. But it's not just that. It's also the same thing with life in general. If you have not decided where you want to take it, someone else is going to take it where they want you to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess it's the same thing with with the comedy even.
Yeah.
You know where you want to go and what you want to do. So if someone says kiddie party, you're like, I'm not doing a child party. I know the money's good. How much? How good? Okay, I can do it for that.
I mean, I'm not making balloon animals or nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know what you want me to do here, but I'll do what I can. But and that's the thing. And maybe the older I get, maybe I might be able to kind of clean up some more as far as how I do stuff. I mean, I'm still writing all the time. I still write down notes on subject matter and stuff like that almost every single day. Like, and a lot of people don't understand that is that I consider it almost like an ADHD thing going on. Like in the middle of the night, I barely sleep.
right.
I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just think of a thought, and I'll have to write it down because I don't want to forget it the next day. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I put it in my material later. And I was like, all right, I'm going to test that out and see how that works, because it was funny as hell when I woke up, because I'm laughing at myself in my sleep, and I wake up and I do it and then I use it. Sometimes it'll hit, sometimes it won't. But I call it it's something to do with like, it's like sleep ADHD. It's almost like sleep apnea,
Right.
It wakes me up in the middle of the night. So, which I have sleep apnea too. It's just I don't have like a mask or anything I use in the middle of the night. I'm supposed to be treated for it, but
I have sleep apnea. It's called, well, actually, I have sleep catnea. My cat keeps me awake. It's like, excuse me, I think there's something outside. Excuse me, I need water. Excuse me, there's poop in my litter box. Could you like move it out the way so I can poop again? So my cat, I have catnea, cat apnea.
Yeah.
So
and that's the thing, it's I think that, like you were talking about, with kids stuff and everything there, it's more along the lines of, I think it's still finding that voice. I found my voice of like what I know I want to do with comedy, I guess my, talk about going back to what I want to leave my kids with and what I want them to learn from, not just the situational awareness, but you were talking about putting in at work and stuff like that. My whole life philosophy is called effort meets fate, and I have it on my wristbands that I sell at shows. I have it on everything I do, like everything.
You have a wristband on now so you can show people?
I actually didn't put it on. I can actually, I didn't put it on this morning. I do have them on my Facebook.
Fake news. No, I'm just teasing. No.
It does. It says Dan Rathmann comedy, and then it says effort meets fate. I literally just got out of the shower and go.
Later on, you can hold it up and I'll insert the picture later. They'll never know that you weren't wearing it.
Yeah. So it's fine. I mean, I've had it in. There's pictures on my Facebook, I think, with it on there. So. But yeah, I mean, I do that every day. I actually wear those wristbands when I leave the house. Like, and I have one that's actually a Selena wristband that I got in Corpus Christi that I wear too. But it's all about, like, as dirty as my comedy can be sometimes, I have a lot of like inspirational stuff that I want to just like leave behind, and I want people to see that I'm not just out here just being an edgy, dirty comic. I'm trying to make a way for others, and I want not just myself or my kids to see that, but I want other people to see that if you put enough effort in it, you'll meet the fate you want.
All right.
So,
well, and some people, and because like I said, I'm not a clean comic, but I've had enough kids around me that I know how to watch my mouth around kids.
yeah,
But that's not the same as being funny to kids.
exactly.
So you can watch your mouth and you can have all the right words, all the clean words, but you don't know if you don't know what's funny to a kid, you're not going to be So, and
which I know what's funny to them, but I just don't. It just doesn't
I have
fit
no
naturally.
idea. I haven't been around a kid in so long for legal reasons that I have no idea what's funny to a kid anymore. I have none. I don't know.
My son is with me quite a bit. My 7-year-old is, so like he's not, he doesn't really, he's got a speech delay or whatever, so he's kind of nonverbal. So for me, there's a lot of physical comedy with him,
Okay.
So, and that's something too, is that kids like physical comedy, like they like the slapstick style stuff. The younger they are, obviously, when they see somebody fall down, it's just kind of funny to them. I think that's just natural for a lot of human beings, but stuff like that, I could probably pull it off. But like I said, it's not something that I would naturally just like have a whole set to go do a children's show for on a regular. Now, some of these other guys could probably pull it off. If I was in a movie or if I was on a TV show, yeah, all day, because it's scripted and it's going to be there. But I don't think it would be something that I could do all the time. It'd be like, oh, I think I'm funny for all of these kids. Although I seem like the Kool-Aid dad half the time when I go to the school. Kids try to go home with me and stuff. It's like weird, but you're his dad, like.
Now I have another clip from the Brouhaha. And actually now because I realized now why I wanted to play this clip. The one I'm about to play, I wanted to play first and then the other one second. And I couldn't remember why. And I even put them in that order, and I thought to myself, but that's not the order they are but now I know why, and I'll talk about that later. So I'm going to play the second clip, which should have been the first clip. But and some people paying attention will realize that there's a callback in the first clip, which doesn't make sense until you watch the second clip. That's why. Okay, so here we go. The second clip, also from Brouhaha.
Okay.
I did some shows in Florida and stuff, and had a buddy of mine, and he picked me up down in Florida. And first off, traveling is weird as a comedian, because you get to see things, but you get to see things, And the first time I was on a plane, and the first time I ever flew with a woman pilot was weird. No offense, ladies, but she landed that thing like a 16-year-old girl driving a Nissan Altima. Telling you, she found a curb somewhere on that damn runway. She was like, terrible. And all I heard was say, oops. Meanwhile, I'm just puckering, like, this is how I die. Didn't even write my will out or nothing. So, good vibrations. It was a Wahlberg joke, anyway. So, gotcha, I told you I'd bring it back up. Anyway. Anyways, it's down in Pensacola area, and anyways, my buddy, he picked me up. He booked me to do 2 shows in Crestview, and anyways, well, he was a black guy, and he picked me up, in his van, and it was like a white minivan, but it looked like a van like you were gonna get kidnapped, like off of like I felt like the girl off of freaking what was that Liam Neeson movie, Taken. It's like, oh, here we go. Well, he's driving me around and stuff. He's just making all these like white jokes. And I'm like, 2 can play that game. So I just look at him like, who's driving who? Morgan Freeman.
Now, because the other one you said to that lady in the first clip that we played, you'd make a terrible pilot, and that's why that one should have been second, because you did the pilot thing there, and I forgot why I had him in that order. No.
Yeah. Well, and also it was kind of funny because we were just talking about the stereotype stuff or whatever,
Right.
and Daniel Tosh, and that was kind of a nod to Daniel Tosh on my joke with my buddy, which that was
Right.
actually realistic. That actually was something that happened. He was making the white jokes towards me when he picked me up and stuff, and it was
Oh
our
yeah.
first time meeting, so it was fun. He's a great dude too, and we're still buddies and we still talk, but it was just. All right, we can play around, we can. This is how we make friendships, So
I know when I started doing comedy in Florida, and at
Yeah.
one point, people were starting to recognize I was doing comedy. So I walked into this building, and there was this old white guy in a wheelchair, and he goes, "You're a comedian." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I got a joke for you," and I'm like, "Okay." You see, that's like people.
Yeah.
It's like I said, "Okay," and he says.
Yeah.
There's this Negro fella. And I'm like, oh shit, this better be a good joke. You got some 70-year-old white guy, southern white guy in a wheelchair starting off a joke with there's this Negro fella. I'm like, this better be the best fucking joke. Because otherwise I'm gonna have to stop from choking this little old white man. At least he started off with Negro. And he didn't go the other way. It's like, okay, so the thing is, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a story. He just wanted me to know that he knew another Negro. That's all. It was just a story that went on for like 7 minutes. But he wouldn't let the Negro in the car. He was outside the guy was outside the car. It was raining, talking to him, and the guy wanted. He was getting wet, and he goes, "I'm not letting you in my car." And that was supposed to be the joke, I guess. I don't know. It was like, so
wow.
But just
so his blatant racism was his joke.
Yeah, just there's this Negra fella, Negra. And the funny thing is, I had not heard that word but at that point I was like 56 years old.
And
I had not heard the word Negra in so long, since the last time, like I was probably in North Carolina. I don't know, because I used to work in the South as well in my 20s and 30s. But I hadn't heard that word in so long. But once he said it, it became part of my lexicon. I've
only heard it a few times. That. I've only heard it said like that a few times.
Yeah. So whenever I get a chance to use Negra, I use it in my comedy, because it's just, to me, it just has such depth, and it has so much meaning to it, even though it's just, well.
That's funny.
Now, you've been doing comedy about 3 years, and for the most part, they say, I'm told that it takes 3 years to find your voice as a comedian. This is what I'm told, and I kind of like use that as like a standard. I don't believe that necessarily, because there's some things you can do before comedy that prepare you for comedy. There's a comedian I know who was a minister for 30 years. And when he became a comedian, he gotten used to talking to audiences and making jokes and stuff like that. Before I did comedy, I used to play in a band. And from time to time, I would tell jokes between songs, especially if something's going wrong and the drummer's like, no, I need 30 seconds. I need a minute. I lost my sticks or whatever, or bass player, I broke a string. Don't know how you break a string on a bass, but I'm just saying that. I need a minute, so we would joke, so those things kind of prepare you for comedy. So even though you haven't been doing comedy for like a very long time, you can still bring stuff with you. But one of the things that, in your case, whether or not you have your voice, that's still be determined, and that needs to be determined by you. But what you have done was you've done so much in the 3 years that a lot of comedians are going like, wait a minute, how are you getting these gigs? And like you said earlier, you said it's effort meets blowjob. No, I'm sorry. What was it? How was it you're doing it? Effort meets.
It meets casting couch. No, it's effort meets fate.
Effort meets fate.
The thing is these guys, they don't see, like, and I can tell you this, is that there's a lot of unanswered emails, you know what I mean, that I've got, that I have not got a response to, so that's what I mean. That's where the effort's at. Like, I used to sell cars. I've been in the sales industry too. So for me, it's like,
if you used to sell cars, you're used to rejection.
exactly. So what I do is I take that level of what I used to do with car sales, and I use that whenever I'm reaching out to, you know, venues and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, this is what I can do. This is my clips. This is whatever. And a lot of them will come through. Don't get me wrong. A lot of them will come through, and it looks like I'm a busy guy. But there's also ones that I haven't heard back from, or and I may not hear back from for another month or two. I do have an agent now. I did get an agent that just signed me out of Kentucky, Tennessee area, that they're working on some stuff for me, so I can start actually making hopefully some more money off of this. But it's one of those things is that if you don't put that effort in, how do you expect to get a yes or a no? You know,
Right,
that's
yes.
the thing is, if you're not trying, then what are you doing? You're only failing yourself if you're not trying to. So the ones that see me doing it, and there's probably some people out there that I'm sure get a little bit jealous of my opportunities and stuff. But I'm like, you don't understand that I'm putting myself out there constantly. I'm always putting in that email. I'm always sending. At one point in time, I sent like probably 50 emails out in one night to different clubs. You know, and this is all myself doing this. This isn't another agent or anybody else doing that stuff. So for people, they don't see that back inside of it. They don't see that extra work that I'm putting in that's not paid for, that I'm not getting paid to do, because the payment is me getting an opportunity to perform and then me making money off that performance. So that's what they're seeing, and they're not understanding is that, hey, this guy's actually putting in a lot of legwork and a lot of after hour time to do this. I'm not just writing my own material and being ready to perform, but I'm also booking myself. I'm also managing myself. I'm doing everything that there would probably be one or two other people doing at the same time. And then I'm still trying to focus on doing my set. And
Right.
that's why I get booked so much. It's not because I'm the funniest guy in the world or that I'm this or that. I'm putting in the effort. And there's work involved, and some of these people, they don't want to do the work; they just want it to be handed to them, or they're just waiting for somebody to discover them. It's like, well,
Right. Yes.
you don't get discovered that way. It's not like it used to be where you go to the mall and some agent sees you and like, oh, you should be a model. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You know, it doesn't work that way anymore. Now, before social media and all that other stuff, that could happen. You know, it was a possibility. But now everything's social media influenced everything. So you can't just go and think that it's just going to be happening by chance. Go to an open mic.
Even if you're a social media quote sensation, does not mean you can be a comedian. It's not the same.
Exactly, that too.
It's not the same skill set at all.
Exactly. So you got to be able to hone all that stuff. The helping with the social media, like I'm almost at 6,000 followers now. I'm not. That's not a whole lot, but I mean, it's getting up there, and it does help
more
you.
than I have.
You know.
But of course, I lost a lot when Trump got elected because I did political humor. So let's put it this way. I made the mistake of assuming that my fan base was 50-50 because I had equal disdain for both parties. So I just assumed that reflected in my base. But no, my base apparently was like almost 60% conservative.
Yeah.
But it's not because I talk about conservative things. No, I mean I talk about family and stuff like that and relationships. But my politics, I'm solution oriented. I don't care what your party is. But once Trump got elected and I started bashing Trump, I realized that my base was like gone. It was like
then they related you to,
and they're not coming back. They're not coming back. And that's fine. That's fine because they can't.
They related you to they related you to like a hard left at that point because they thought, oh, you're bashing Trump, you're gonna be a hard leftist or whatever.
Right. And
I get it. I stay away. I try to stay away.
Joking, and they were fine with my Obama stuff. They were fine when I was with my Hillary Clinton stuff and my Bernie Sanders stuff. You know, they were fine with that. You know, but the thing is, the whole time I told the truth. See, and what they thought of was like he's slamming Bernie Sanders. It's like, no, I'm telling a truth and I'm trying to make it funny. And they looked at it as he's slamming. And so when
it's a double-edged sword.
When I told the truth about Trump, it was like he's slamming Trump, he's slamming our God, and our cult will not stand for that.
I make jokes like I don't usually do political myself because that's exactly why I don't do political, because I don't want people to be like, well, he's this or he's that, and it's like, no, I mean honestly, I'm one of those people that I take care of home first. You know what I mean? So like if it's not impacting my family like at this second, and don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't care about the world, I don't care about anybody else, but they're not putting food on my table at the moment. You know what I mean? These people that everybody is like freaking out about, they're not putting the food on my table. If I have to go out here and make the money and put the food on my table, then, and if it's them that's going to give it to me directly, then I might worry about it. But at this point in time, like I try to stay away from left, right, all that stuff. Like I'll crack a joke once in a while, you know, about like current events or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's just because it's a funny, you know, it's a funny observation because that's what we do as comics. We make a funny observation. For the most part, I, I would say that probably some people probably think I lean more conservative, probably just by the way I look and the way I talk and the way I walk, whatever. Um, but at the same time, I just don't try to bring that in there because the reason why I look at it this way is because a lot of people, when it comes to a comedy show, it's about laughter and it's about getting away from their woes and their stresses of life. So I feel like right now politics is a very hot topic. So like if that's a stressor for a lot of people, it's going to be a stressor for the majority of the audience. So I just don't even try to. I might crack a joke here or there, and then there might get one person might get mad. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And but it's like that, and I'm like, and then I'm also like, why are you coming to a comedy show to get mad anyways? Like it doesn't make any sense. But uh, it is what it is. But I feel like politics and stuff like that. I just kind of I just I stay away from it as much as I can. As far as even when I'm talking on podcasts and stuff like that, I try not to be. Uh, I try not to even be like leaning one way or the other with it because I'm just like everybody's going to have their own opinion, everybody's going to have their own view, and at the end of the day, if someone is really far right or really really far left, or I did that opposite there, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
One way or the other, it doesn't make sense if they're far too far one way or the other. They're not going to care what your opinion is, anyways. They're really not. It's not going to be a conversation. It's never going to be that. And I'm just from observing from the outside looking in. Every time I've seen a conversation between anybody that's too far one way or the other, it doesn't matter what you or I say to them. It won't matter a difference because it's all only going to be I'm right, you're wrong. You're either a left wing nut or you're a right wing nut if you don't agree with their way. And that's that's simple. So,
now, what do you remember about the first time you took the stage doing comedy? And what do you remember about the first laugh you got? How did you feel about your first laugh? How was that?
It's kind of weird because I took the stage. Okay, so we didn't have like a stand-up comedy scene here in St. Joseph, Missouri, where I'm at, and we didn't have a stand-up comedy scene. I mean, we had some comics that have been here and stuff, but they weren't doing anything in the comedy, like doing actual shows here. So I started off by doing a Facebook post saying I wanted to do comedy, right? And I knew one of the bar owners here. The bar's no longer open itself. He actually moved to Wichita or something now. But one of the bar owners here, he's like, "Hey, do it here." So I just put on a show. Like I had never done an open mic or nothing. I literally just did a show. I got me and about 3 other guys that wanted to do comedy. We went in and I even headlined it / hosted the show. And I went on for like 30 to 40 minutes up on stage, and it was crazy because I did some crowd work. I had some stuff, observational humor that I do. I was talking about a friend that he's a gay guy, but there was some things that he seemed more close to Jeffrey Dahmer than what we thought. And I made a joke about that and stuff like that. So, I mean, it hit really well on my first time. And I was like, well, that's where I kind of got the idea of like, man, this could really take off because the show sold like 50 tickets and the bar was only capacity was like around that. So we were pretty much a big show on the very first time. And I'd never done comedy before outside of theater in high school. I mean, I've always done entertainment. I've always been an entertainer, but I never done stand up like that before. So I took a chance on myself and kind of gambled and it worked well. So me personally, my experience is not like every other comic's experience. Every other comic has probably been like, man, I went up, did 3 minutes and I bombed, and it's like, I didn't bomb until my second time.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine who the first time she did comedy, it was at a corporate thing. It was like a comedy, it was like a corporate talent show or something. And I've seen her set. I've seen that set. It's like she did like 15 minutes the first time up and she killed in the work environment. And so, and she says the first time she thought I'm great, and it was good. She's a good comedian. I call her the queen of the mom jokes. I've done a few shows with her. I've done so. As a matter of fact, I have a show called Funny Old Farts, and she's on that. She's on the show with me.
That's good.
It's like a mini tour. We're just starting off. We've done 2 states, 1 state. We got our 2nd state booked right now, and I'm working on a 3rd state. So right now we're at a 2-state solution. We're working on the 3rd state, but the point is that she killed the first time around, and when she did her first real set, like at a club or a bar or something, she stank it up.
Well, see, that's what happened with me is I went back there, but see, my problem was that they were buying me like shots and stuff, and I drank too much is what it was. I actually ended up drinking too much. I got to the point where I was sloshed and I wasn't able to perform the way you should be able to perform. And that's where I transitioned. So
you had whiskey
myself
joke. You had whiskey joke.
No, I think I just got to the point where I was like more roasting people than I was doing jokes, and people got offended and stuff like that.
You couldn't perform like Whiskey Dick. You couldn't perform.
Yeah, it was basically the same way. Yeah. It wasn't my best performance, and I knew it afterwards, and I even apologized to people. I'm like, hey man, I got way too drunk. I shouldn't have done that. Never again. And that's how I started looking at it too. Like, so you'll see that I might have a beer or something up on stage with me, but I only drink maybe a few beers the whole night. I'm not up there getting drunk. That night I had like, I don't know how many shots. I had, it was like a pitcher of tequila and something else. Like it was a rough night. You know what I mean? So I was like, don't ever get to that point. And I tell everybody too, like, hey, if you're drinking, just make sure that you're not, you know what I mean? Make sure, if it's just to take the edge off, I get it. People do that because they get nervous or whatever before stage. I said, but don't get to that point, because I said, learn from my mistake. I can tell you right now, as funny as you think you might be, you're not that funny when you're slosh drunk. You're not that funny. And people might be laughing at you, but they're not laughing because you're funny. They're probably laughing at you because you just made a mess of yourself. So
now the 3rd clip that we're going to look at, you're going to have to tell us where it is after the fact, because I don't know where it is. And I was a bad host. I didn't do my homework. Because I said, I will get this, and I didn't. So afterwards, you can tell us, if you remember, you can tell us what it is. But it's from a year ago, I can tell you that. The other stuff is more recent. The other 2 are more recent. This is from a year ago. So here we go.
It's cool. How's everybody doing tonight? Y'all are lively and stuff. I love that. It's awesome. I'm a big crowd work comedian and stuff too, so it's fun. So we might do a little bit of Q&A too. Y'all know about that? Some Q&A? No. I just play. All right. So, what'd you say? Oh, he's a car salesman? Nice. Charlie who? He's got 2 dads? It's okay. We're okay, people, it's alright. Charlie was in King City last time I was over there, and that was awesome. So, both of them were. Devil went down to Georgia over there with that Charlie Daniels beard. It's a good time, though. Do what? You got a birthday in the house? 21? Oh, birthday in there too? Holy shit, I don't have enough time to sing you all happy birthday, by the way. Jesus. But happy birthday to everybody, right? How many we got in the crowd? She's 21. Happy birthday to you. It's all downhill from here, I'm telling you. I'm 38, it sucks. You have 4 kids, you become pro-choice, I'm just saying. I'm just playing. It is very invasive to ask a woman how she likes her eggs, though. If you're a fan parenthood. You got it's fucked up, right? Anyways, I have these random thoughts, and I do executive protection on the side. You know, I'm out there protecting the world from Mario coming up and finishing what Luigi did. But plumbers are fucking assassins nowadays, guys. It's crazy. Anybody a plumber in the crowd? Don't shoot. All right. Do what? He's plumbing. Anyways, random thoughts in the morning. I'm up at like 4 a.m. after time when I go to work, and one day I was thinking, if a midget orders a liquor drink at the bar, isn't it top shelf all the time? I don't even smoke weed.
Oh yeah, man, that's one of my favorite venues to perform at. I'm actually getting ready to perform there on Valentine's Day. We're doing an event there, so it's a dinner and a show, and we got a musical guest too that's going to come in and do some singing and stuff. So it's going to be a fun time for Valentine's dinner show and date night for people. So it's myself and a buddy of mine. His name's Pepe Cabrera. We call him Tio Pepe.
I saw that his picture with you. I saw a picture of the two of you together on Facebook.
Yeah, he's a good buddy of mine. He's another up and coming comic in the Kansas City area. He actually ran for I think it was office at one of the offices, I think, at one point in time too, down in that area. But anyways, he's pretty cool. We're gonna do that show, but that show was actually over 200 something in the crowd.
Yeah, I heard
it was a sold out show.
Earlier in the clip.
Yeah.
Where is that place?
It's crazy. Southern Roots Event Center. It's here in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's probably one of my favorite venues in this area to perform at. The stage is amazing. The venue's amazing. You got plenty of space for tables and chairs, and you know what I mean, everything that's there. They got their bar that's set up. It's like they do like weddings and stuff in there too, like reception hall. But it's an amazing spot. Like I think that for St. Joe to have a venue like that, it's pretty cool. And the stage is huge. Like you can see how big that stage was. There's plenty of room to move around. So
now this is totally off the cuff, but which is a bigger adrenaline rush for you? A standing ovation for a good comedy set, or a standing ovation for hauling an asshole away in cuffs?
Oh, the comedy set. I didn't really like to arrest people. Honestly, I felt like arresting was.
But even when they're applauding, even when they applaud,
if it was an applaud, I mean, but we didn't have anybody applauding us. Most of the time,
because sometimes people want that person arrested. They're like, please.
Today's society though. Like if I arrested somebody, they'd probably be like throwing stuff at me. You know what I mean? Like it seems like
I know it feels like
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
But I know it feels like it, but there are people out there that we know should be in cuffs. And so we applaud it when even if
I'm related to a few, I think. I don't know. But
now what's the hardest lesson that you've learned? I know you don't have much time. You had something that you had to do it too, but but what is the hardest lesson that you've had to learn about the business and the art of comedy?
I would say this, and I dealt with it a few times. You know, like I support everybody. I really do. I try to give everybody utmost respect and support. The problem is with this business is that it's not reciprocated a lot. You know, there's a lot of guys out there that they won't show you the same support. They'll want your support, but they won't show it back. You know, and they won't give you the same type of uplifting motivation like you would them. So my takeaway from that is like this year I've kind of turned over a new leaf. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be that guy I'll be supportive. I'm not going to change who I am. Obviously I'm going to be the same person. I'm still going to be motivational. I'm still going to be positive and things like that. But I'm also not just going to turn the cheek to people that don't want to, you know what I mean? Like if they want to be like rude to me for no reason, or if they want to be like bashing me for no reason, I'm like, okay, well, why is it? Let's make a list of what's your problem with me? What's your issue with me? Because I'm finding that more probably more in my local areas than anything, because I travel more than most of the comedians I think do in this area.
Right.
But it's not that like I said, and that's not saying that to be arrogant. It's just the fact is that I've done nothing but try to lift up people, and it seems like some of them will just stab you in the back. because whatever reason, I don't know if it's out of jealousy, if it's out of they don't think I deserve it, whatever it may be. But to me, it's all. I'm at a point with it. I've spent 3 years of doing nothing but lifting others, but trying to lift myself at the same time as I'm lifting others. And at this point, it's like, it's not that I'm being selfish. I've learned that you got to take care of yourself though too. You can't just be always uplifting others whenever they're trying to push you down. So,
right. Okay, well, thanks. Well, yeah, that's now. I guess over the time. Well, actually, I think that's a good place to end it. That's a good place to end it for us because. So I know you got things to do at 12. I mean at 2. And that doesn't give you a lot of time. But look, I appreciate you doing this with me.
Yeah.
And anything you want to plug or go ahead. This is your last. Just anything you want to talk about. Get off your chest. Go ahead.
Anybody following this, anybody watching this and following this, they follow me on Facebook. That's my biggest platform right now. Follow me on Facebook, Dan Rathmann. You can find me. It has my picture. I'm holding the microphone. It has my picture on it. It's a blue check mark too.
Oh,
so
God.
Yeah.
Your headline shot their headline.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about your GRA. I mean, let's face it. You earned an award, so let's talk about it real quick.
Oh yeah. I won a global recognition award for my influence in entertainment in such a short period of time, because of how I've impacted other comics, how I've impacted the comic scene in such a short period of time. From being, like I said, I came out of nowhere. Nobody expected me. Nobody knew what I was doing. And I just kind of did what I did. And the whole, like I said, the effort meets fate stuff came about. So they ended up. I got an email or something from them a while back. I don't know if somebody nominated me or something had happened. And then I'd spoke with them and everything like that. And then they said, well, submit your information through and everything else like that. And they're like, oh, congratulations, you won the award for 2025 for your impact and entertainment and all that. And I was like, that's awesome. I didn't end up winning the best comedian award in this area. I mean, I've been nominated 3 different times, but I ended up winning a global award. So I guess global, above local. So, but win-win, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I just wanted to get that out there real quick. So again, thank you so much for doing this with me. And once I have it edited and stuff, I'll let you know. Like I said, mainly
Did you want me to plug those? You want me to plug those shows coming up?
Oh yeah, sure. Yes, plug them. Plug away.
All right. So before I get off here, the next shows I do have coming up, I know that you're going to probably do this differently. February 14th will be my next show in February, which will be here in St. Joseph, Missouri, Southern Roots Event Center that I just talked about, that you just showed the clip from. Then after that, I go out to Milroy, Pennsylvania, to the Smokehouse Bar and Grill in Milroy, Pennsylvania, where the 4 people might be from. And then we go out there, and then I come back, and then I do Maryville, Missouri. It's a college town at the pub. So that's just a few that are coming up here. But if you follow me on my socials, you'll be able to see where I'm going next and where you can find me at and where you can come see me or how you can get tickets to see me. I'm kind of all over the place. So it seems like every week I book a new show for another location. So if you want to do that, follow me on my socials, Dan Rathmann on Facebook, at Dan Rathmann Comedy on everything else, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and what else would it? But I said, oh yeah, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram is at Dan Rathmann Comedy. So,
all right, cool. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much, man.
Sure.
All right.